Right? Good evening, good morning,
Yeah.
good afternoon to everyone, wherever you are joining us. Such an amazing privilege to have you here with us. My name is Stephanie Oloruntoba, and I'm delighted to be the moderator for this high-level impact webinar with Dr. Maryleen Amaizu. Such a great privilege and honor to be here. So yes, going right into today's webinar, we'll be talking about AI, tech, and the future of global migration. Looking at this topic, you'll be wondering, oh, what are we really talking about? But these are like keywords that one person has fully embodied, and it's such an honor to have her here in our midst this evening. So, Dr. Maylin, we'd love to get the backstory behind what we're talking about today. Looking at AI, uh, global migration, you need to embody everything. So we'd love to hear your journey. We'd love to have you walk us through it. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on the part of the world you're joining from. Okay, so I'm just going to amplify what Stephanie is saying. Thank you, Stephanie, for the introduction because I think the network is a bit glitchy. So Stephanie is asking about my journey. So the topic today, talking about AI, tech, and the future of global migration. So I happen to find myself in, the three keywords I find the AI, tech, and also migration or global migration. So I'll talk a little bit about my journey, my story around these three themes that we have. So first off, 8 years ago, more than 8 years ago now, I found myself migrating after some attempts. This is not a migration, purely migration story, but yeah, I found myself, navigating that whole space of migration. I came into the UK and I came here on a student visa, so I came to studying embedded systems, which because I wanted to further my career in tech, in engineering, in computing, so just that whole field. And so, yeah, about 8+ years ago, I came to the UK and I was in that place where I wanted to really grow in my tech career. I wanted to develop myself further. I wanted to upskill. I wanted to have the best possible education to, make the most of the opportunities in tech. And tech was a very, very vast field. I wasn't really sure initially after my graduation where I would be specializing. So it was very, very vast and broad. And also needed some guidance to know, okay, what would be the next step. Yes, so that was how I found myself doing my master's. Scholarship was a big part of my journey as well. So studying with scholarships or finding scholarship, which, that's part of what I also got passionate about sharing information and supporting people through their journey finding scholarship because there are some persons who if they don't have the right sponsorship, they might not actually be able to access this education. And it's not, some people feel that, when they hear scholarship, they're like, okay, uh, are you looking for free stuff? Not really, because even people who study here, people who are British, they or local, they also access funding. But in their case, they can access it as student loans and they use that to study. And we know that studying can be very, very expensive. So if there is some way to access that funding, it's very good to put the work in if it means taking lots of exams, or if it means whatever it might take to access those funding in a legitimate way. So I accessed several fundings to do my master's, to also do my PhD, which was fully funded, and my PhD was in computer science. So that was when I focused a lot around a research at the intersection of artificial intelligence and system side as well, like Internet of Things. So I love the system side because I like to think of how systems come together and get integrated, and how to integrate some of these algorithms into systems to make them work. So that was my journey, and along the line as well, the I came across the global talent visa, which some of you that are on my LinkedIn as well, some of you that are in my network may hear me talk about, because it still is a blessing. It still is a blessing. So I secured the global talent visa, and in the UK and also in Australia. So the process also helped to shape a lot of things in my career, because it helped me to do a deep dive into my career background. It helped me to assess where I was coming from, where I am, and where I am going. And it's also an exercise that still helps me till today. So that is my journey in terms of my expertise and what I do. So in the tech space, there are several industries, but if I was to group it, I have done some work around consulting, I have done some work around research, and I've also done some work around products. So there are so many other industries as well. Education, I've also done some work around education, and in each of them, I've got some experience, and that has also helped me to understand the terrain a lot more, especially with respect to what skill sets are needed, how different teams collaborate to actually deliver a project. So let's say there's an IT project, which can be a product project, which could be a service-based project. So I've worked in these different terrains to understand how teams work and what kind of skill sets are needed. Yeah, so it's been a lot going on, but yes, that's me in a nutshell, my migration journey. Within that time, I have learned so much. I have met several persons. I have expanded my network. Yes, and I've been growing. And I usually like to say that global talent is, or becoming a global talent, it's not just a destination, it's a journey, and it's a continuous journey. I'm still on that journey. And every day there are things to learn and to grow. So yes, so we are talking about AI tech and the future of global migration. And I'm sharing from my perspective as an AI talent, as a tech talent, as a migration talent. I mean, bringing that all together in this piece. And I would also love to get your thoughts, get your questions wherever you're joining from, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever. So get your thoughts, share your thoughts, questions. And yes, this is chatty webinar. And yeah, I know Stephanie will drive us in a direction, but yeah, feel free to put your questions down, your comments as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a whole lot of experience, and I'm glad that we were able to get you to talk on this topic, because from what you have shared, it actually shows that you are the perfect person to guide us on this topic and inform our audience as what AI is about, tech, and even the future of global migration. Right. So with the wealth of experience that you have, what would you say global migration is actually evolving and migration looks like for tech talent? Is it a yes or is it a no? What would you say about it?
Yeah, with global migration evolving and what the landscape looks like for tech talents. So when we talk about global migration evolving, I'm going to come from the perspective, and that is, migration. Usually, when some people might have a positive connotation to migration, some might have a negative, but migration has always been a part of life. And um, from the side of the talents, there's a side of you as a talent. So when I talk about a talent, like a skilled person, an individual, a professional, what it means to you. From the side of the country as well, UK, for example, um, Australia, US, it means something to them, migration. And migration is usually like hot, very hot topic, very hot debate going on. And from the side of companies as well, what it means to them. So it's a topic that is always going to come up, and it has to do with the flow of skills. It has to do with mobility of skills. So for you, it could be you having that career mobility to move from one terrain to the other. It could also even be, so there is the literal migration where you move from one country to the other. There's also the migration of your skill, even in a virtual space, right? So you could be in a particular country and your skill is very much in use in another country as well. So, I mean, there's a rise of digital nomads in our time, even specific visas that tend to digital nomads, which is about, maybe somebody coming into a country for a period of time and contributing their skills or working in that country. So, and things are getting better with respect to the kind of environments, enabling environments for people to migrate their skills, either literally moving from place to place or actually just using tools as well. So you can see tools like even we're on Restream now, tools like this, you can have even Zoom, enabling this sort of mobility from different locations as well. And so I've worked with things where, you'll have people from different parts of the world working together and collaborating. So that is becoming like a new norm. And yes, so it's constantly evolving, the tools that enable it, the visas that enable migration, and yeah, the landscape in terms of the laws as well, enabling laws to attract talents and to keep talents. Yep. You may be on mute.
Thank you very much. While you were speaking, you mentioned about enabling environment for people to migrate their skills. So when someone wants to migrate, let's say someone who is an AI talent, what do you think they need to look out for in a particular environment? What defines an environment that makes it enabling for AI talent?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to speak from, when I read some of the strategy documents or opportunity, like we have the AI Opportunities Action Plan. I read some of those documents, strategy documents, for example, things related to digital skills or just innovation, the digital space, AI or data. So I do see some statements here and there, even from different governments documents. And, you know, at least the ones I've read, mostly in the Western countries, there's always something around talents because they understand as well that you can have this, it's a competitive market, also competitive for talent because you can, let's say you want to be number one in AI, you want to be, you want to have the enabling environment, you will need to have the people, isn't it? You, at least right now, you need the people, not just the machines, right? And the machines don't build themselves. So you need the people. And how do you get the people? You need to have a strategy as well to attract the people. So, and when I read through those documents, there are things I see there, statements I see there that talk about, it's more like advertising, like what, so when somebody wants to advertise, oh, come to my country, what are the kind of
Mm,
things that the person is going to be saying? And I'm going to give you some examples, like in the UK, for example, they talk about having, strong fundamental AI research, high quality research, and engineering talent as well coming out of universities. To for them to mention these things, it means that they understand that yes, the talents are very important for people to try. For example, if I'm in an environment, let's say I'm the only one, I come into an environment, I'm the only one that knows AI, especially if I'm developing my talents. Let's say I'm in the early phases of my career or at any point actually. And maybe I come into a, let's say a company, an institution, and I'm just the only one that knows about AI, right? With time, maybe everything I say is like, oh, okay, that's brilliant, that's good. Yes, maybe nobody can challenge my ideas enough. Nobody
Mm.
can view the work I'm doing. Even in programming, no matter how senior you are, there is a system in place for people to review your code, for people to review the work you're doing and challenge it. And because just having that additional pair of eyes is like a practice, is a norm. So it's also knowing how understanding that I as a talent, I'm coming into an environment where we have other talents. That is also an enabling environment for me to thrive and grow because I have people that would challenge me. I have people that would help support,
Mm.
help me to grow. So mentioning that as well, I think that it is a valid point. Having the talent and because people will be drawn towards also other people that are skilled that can help them grow. And that's why you hear a lot about communities. Why do communities come up? Because there needs to be that enabling environment and supporting environment for people like minds to share
Mm.
ideas, grow. So that's also one of the things that really I would say makes an environment attractive. And then they also talk about things like vibrant startup and scale up environments where you have entrepreneurs, you have entrepreneurial workforce, you have like some capital for companies are ambitious and working towards this space. And that's an important point, either for the entrepreneurs that want to start up their business, explore ideas, apply AI. So it could be applied, it could be theoretical AI work that startup might want to do. And also for the talents that would want to work with these companies. So that would sound attractive to them. And there are companies you find here that are even like they talk about, let's say Google DeepMinds have their
Mm.
headquarters in here in the UK. There are also presence of several other offices. Their offices are here, and so they do talk about mention this because it's important to know. Okay, where are these companies? Are these companies actually coming here? These companies that are at that frontier of AI technology, are they coming here? Are they coming to that environment? Are they pitching in that environment? And there are several other things. So, for example, does the government have some kind of a leadership? It could
Mm.
be around AI safety, AI governance, the enabling environments, the enabling regulations for the and support system for that technology to work. So these are some of the things that could make an environment attractive for talents. But yes, it could also vary from, there might be personal reasons as well. But these are some of the things when I read some of these documents, these are things that they also mention as competitors to some other countries. These are things that they mention that make them stand out and they make them a viable place for AI talents to come.
Okay. Thank you so much. From what you said, I feel that it's very important for one talent when it comes to artificial intelligence to carefully study a particular country you are looking at migrating to, not just because you want to japa in quotes, or you want to just travel out of your current country, but because you want your own talent to be better, you want to offer value. You carefully research a particular country you are looking at migrating to. That's really really important. So before we go ahead with this session, I would love to welcome again everyone joining us from LinkedIn, from YouTube, from Instagram, from wherever you are joining us. We are glad to have you here. We're talking about AI, tech, and the future of global migration. And here we have with us Dr. Maryleen Amaizu, an award-winning global talent booster with a lot of impact around the AI space. Such a great privilege to have you on today. All right. So, um, when you were speaking earlier, you mentioned something about the UK. You said they have strong fundamental AI research, like opportunities to, fully explore your talent. I would really want you to talk more about it. Like, you've been in the UK for quite some time now. Would you encourage other AI talents to migrate to UK? Do you think it's a safe place for them to, really become better? Let's say moving from point 2 to point 10. Thank you.
Okay, the US folks will come after me now. Okay, so of course, come to the UK, come to the UK. Anyway, don't worry, I'll give you some facts. Let me give you facts, then we can debate. Yes, so one of the stats I came across, they mentioned that around 15% of I was going through one of the articles just talking about AI activities in the UK, and they mentioned around 15% of all businesses have adopted at least one AI technology. And looking at it, 15%, doesn't that look small? Well, it looks like an opportunity as well because with the fact that there is a growing adoption and when we talk about 15%, it translates to over 400,000 companies. That's what it
Wow.
translates to. Yes, over 4. I don't know how the remaining 85% are they businesses that are still functional and the breakdown of that. But yes, so that's already telling you that there is a lot of potential. So where you see a problem, I would actually, if it were if I saw a number like 90%, I'll probably be thinking maybe is it not too saturated already? But 50%
Mm.
still able to think yes, there is a lot of prospects in this part. And if you compare it to maybe some countries will even say 0.5%, right? So that's reasonable, and that's to say that there is something going on here. There is opportunity here, and also even the UK is boasting to be one of the largest, if not the largest, AI markets because of the current AI sector valuation in the UK. So the market is very, very huge. And that also, when you have huge markets and and potential, you'd also see that that's where the demand for talent comes comes on. I remember I read something that was talking about how some AI roles, data and AI roles were unfilled, even in the civil service. So a role can be advertised and it's not filled, maybe because for several reasons, but sometimes it could be that actually we did not find the right candidates, or sometimes maybe nobody actually applied, no qualified person applied for the role. So if some roles are going unfilled, I mean, that means there's something in that field. Maybe the demand is more, that's the demand from employers is even more than the supply. And if you look at the specialist skills, and there are different levels of specialty, of course, if you are starting out in the field, you would need to move. Um, we'll talk about that, I think, but you would have to start from the basics and keep learning and growing and in the field. I am still learning. There is something new to learn every day. The field is fast evolving field as well. So yeah, so there are things going on here. Yeah, I think yeah, I'm still employed. I've not lost my job, so there are things going on here, and that's to show that it is very very viable field. There are even some companies that still just starting out as
Mm.
you see. What about 85%? So some companies, if you look at the AI maturity levels, because companies are rated by their maturity level, AI maturity level. So I've done like some AI maturity assessments, and you could see that some companies are even in the public sector, even maybe much more even in the public sector, that they are still maybe at the lower end of the maturity. So even if a company has started adopting AI, the question is at what level of maturity? So it could even be that the 15% of businesses that have adopted AI technology, they are still at the low end of the maturity and there's a potential to go way up there. So I feel that is a space that is growing, and I know the US folks will come. No, that they will come and debate with me, but due to things that are happening here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, just to give our audience a bit of insight to these opportunities, what will you say are like the key opportunities for AI migrants?
Okay, so key opportunities for AI migrants here. I would like to say talents, AI talents.
Okay.
So one, I'm going to start from the top, and we have some enhanced immigration pathways for AI talents. So although it's not limited to only AI talents, but it's something worth calling out. So that there are several routes that are available, from the skilled worker that is very popular, like the standard routes for skilled workers to migrate, to the innovator route, to even things like the global talent visa, so which is the one that I also got. So these are some pathways through which AI talents can some opportunities, and it's for them to come into the UK and be able to stay in the UK as well. There is also this route called the um, um, more like high potential, for people who maybe have graduated from some institutions that are eligible. So through that pathway, they could also stay in the UK for some time. And I am someone that loves to share scholarships. As a matter of fact, I attended more than 7 summer schools during my grad school time. So I like to share lots of scholarship because it's one window into opportunities like this, both education, both networking, both developing some other soft skills as well. And there are several scholarships that supported uh, in the UK as well. Particularly, there was a time where UK government was supporting people who wanted to maybe in a particular field and wanted to do a conversion course to get into AI. Because when you talk about the workforce that are needed for AI, you'll be wondering where would they be coming from? Because many of these persons were not taught AI in school. Maybe there was nothing like AI in your undergraduate. So where are they going to learn the AI from? And that might mean that they might have to do some conversion courses. It might be like master's conversion course. It might be like some form of conversion course to get them acquainted with the technology, the skills that they need. And they have provided scholarships. There are also like several fellowships. AI researchers, they would know a lot about these fellowships that have come even for international researchers to engage in some cutting edge research. And no, there is a whole lot, but I'm going to investments in even in AI infrastructure, computing. So there are some plans as well for the UK government to invest in more computing capacity, so they can AI professionals may be able to have access to those resources for research and development. And so I'm going to just like talk about that.
Wow. That's a whole lot of opportunities for our AI talent. So if you're afraid if we will be needed, I believe we have been able to convince you that there's enough space for you, even as you migrate. Okay, I would just want to highlight on something that you mentioned about sharing scholarships. So if you are not following Dr. Maryleen on LinkedIn, I think you should do now so that you can have first-hand access to all scholarship opportunities that she'll be sharing. Thank you once again for being generous with the resources that you have. Thank you so much, Dr. Maryleen. All right. So
Thank you.
moving forward, as people migrate into the UK space, it somehow feels like a lot of talent are being migrated into a particular space. How can this talent, stay ahead? if, especially with someone who is maybe aspiring, growing. So how can they stay ahead in that competitive environment?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing I like about the tech space, which may be lacking, or let me not say lacking, but yeah, so for some other fields, maybe we are quite privileged in that sense, as tech talents, is the, yeah, when we even talk about career mobility, there's also mobility of your skill, global mobility, mobility of your skill, which means if you go from one country to another, are you going to have to start afresh to
Mm,
pick up the skills and the required training to thrive in that environment? So if you are rating different careers with respect to mobility, then I would say that tech is going to really come at the top, one of the top. Why? Because there's some professions that if you might be at the very top level, consultant level in your country, and you then come to another country, you're almost going to start afresh because it's going to be a different world, different regulations. They'll tell you, okay, you actually still need to go through this process to integrate into the system. But with tech, you learn Python. There's no Python Nigeria and Python UK. Python is Python. So if you learn Python, Python is Python, right? So if you know
yeah.
Python, it's the language and it's used across board. And so if you know cloud, something in the cloud, you know Azure. Azure is Azure. There's no Azure UK is different from Azure Nigeria. No, it's Azure is Azure, right? So cloud is cloud. And that is also one thing that makes the tech space very, very attractive. So I would say from that note, I've seen people who were really doing well in their career and their profession, and then they just came and they realized, oh, for me to get back, build back that momentum to get to the level I was in my country where I migrated from is going to take me years. So they look at the trade-off. Should I just switch to another career? Should I almost start afresh and start building up? And sometimes they just make the decision. You know what? I can't even I can't take that stress, and they just maybe switch to another career altogether, right? So what I'll say is knowing that, yeah, the mobility is very high. I would say it means that I think it's an inspiration for you to really think, maybe strategize. You know, career strategy is a thing. I didn't think that anything there was anything like strategy around career, but governments do strategy. So you have strategy, businesses talk about strategy. So I think individuals should also be strategic, have a strategy, right? Even a migration strategy, have a plan, have a strategy. And part of that could be your career because time ticks, time flies. So part of that, what will be the foundation? Where are you right now? Assess your career and then identify the gaps that you have and then start working through those gaps. And that is why training, upskilling is very important. The foundations we have a training. Even with AI, we still point people back to foundations, data foundations, because most times these AI systems are not built in isolation. So you need to have some foundation, and data is a very good foundation to have because, in fact, there's a statement that goes that data is the lifeblood of an AI system. So the blood that is running through the veins of the AI system is the data. So that would mean that, yes, build the foundations. We even have some training we run just for people to get acquainted, to get started with the foundation, learning the foundation, and also having some form of mentoring or coaching. So if you are at a stage where you have what it takes already for the global talent visa, for example, you can there are several resources out there, or you can take some coaching to put it together and apply. But it's not just all about the global talent visa. And in fact, what I tell people, even if you feel maybe you have doubts about, okay, do I qualify for this visa? It may also be worth assessing your gap, assessing where you are. And that's what we do with the strategy sessions we run for this global talent visa. We don't just look at just the visa, we also look long term. So you're coming out of that knowing where you are or where you're coming from, where you are, and where you can get to. So you realize the gaps that you have. So it's really a deep dive. You understand the gaps, you understand the strengths, and then you understand what exactly you need to do to fill that gaps. And you leave there really empowered and knowledgeable about where you are and where you're getting to next. And I do say that, let's say for maybe where you are now, you think the global talent visa is the moon, right? It's the moon. And maybe I'm trying to hit it. Maybe if you miss, you would land in the stars, as they say. And that stars could be, I've seen a case where even someone couldn't get was aspiring for the global talent visa due to, because sometimes you might not just be eligible for one reason or the other that you can influence. And it's not a visa, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not a, okay, tomorrow I'm not ready today, and then tomorrow I have everything. Right? Sometimes it's a process. You have to go through it as a process. As a matter of fact, some people who even applied did not, like myself, I didn't know anything like the global talent visa several years ago when I was doing certain things. And then I came to realize there was this opportunity. And it was those things I had been doing all those years that I put together to then apply. Right. But you now knowing that there are opportunities like this, it should even be an inspiration so that you know that actually I need to be strategic in the kind of opportunities I take. I need to be strategic in how I use my time. There's some echoes. Okay. So it even it could help you to understand, actually these opportunities exist. So whatever I'm doing now, I'm not just going to be doing it from the place of some and which is sad because some people do things for years and then they realize actually maybe because there was no structure to this is one thing that would disqualify this evidence being used, and it's really sad. But if you from the get-go know that there are opportunities like this, so even if I'm doing this for the fun of it, I love doing it, I love this activity, you have something you're pursuing, which is still okay. You know that actually my moon can be, I want to get this global talent visa in the future, and these are the things I can start doing now, right? And maybe 5 years down the line, we don't know whether there will be a global talent visa, but there could be. Once you've positioned yourself, there is going to be something there for you because you are in the right place. You have prepared yourself for some opportunity that is going to come up. I didn't know that there was anything even when I had applied for the UK global talent visa. I didn't know there was the Australian global talent visa, right? And then I looked at it because I had looked at the UK one initially and I felt like it was an elephant. It was, I couldn't cross it. It was so big a bridge. But then I crossed it. So when I looked at the Australian one, like, this is just, when, when I think it was Caleb and Joshua that said, these are, how did they call those giants? Like, these are giants. Like, no, these are just grasshoppers and bread for us, so we'll crush them. So that's how I saw the Zuba Challenges at that point. It was not like the giant it was when I was looking at the UK one. I was like, no, this is I don't have Nobel Prize, so I can't apply for this. So, but this time I'm like, oh no, this is bread and butter. Yeah, so and that's how it is when you like start from the basics, those things that really look like giants, when you get to a point where you equalize with them and you even surpass them and move on and set new goals and targets for yourself. So yeah, that's what I would say.
That's amazing. Wow. It feels like I should just start documenting. clarification right now. Thank you so much. I was even going to ask you to,
Okay, I think Stephanie, you might be having an echo. Okay, let's take some questions. Any questions? So Ikechukwu is asking, what opportunities are there for people like us without solid experience in AI but have projects and some certifications and still building? Okay. No, before your question, I see a comment here as well. Michael said, "Good to be here. Glad to have you, Michael." Ikechukwu, 15% is low. So 15%, we're talking about the number of businesses that have integrated AI technology or adopted AI technology. So it's low, but it's also promising because the 15% we're talking about is 400K plus companies already. And it also means that I've not I've not looked at it side by side with other countries, but what if you see some countries that is just 1% of the businesses in the country? So, but it also means that there are lots of room and opportunities. And even with that 15% that have adopted AI, it means that they are going to be looking for talent as well as the companies who want to adopt AI. They will be looking for talents in the future when they identify a need, a value for AI. And yes, to your question, what opportunities are there for people like us without solid experience in AI, but have projects and some certifications and still building? Okay, so when you talk about opportunities, it's a process, and from the angle, I'm even speaking from the angle of people like yourself who maybe even before you even have some project and certification, there are people who have not even started. So I have done trainings where I've met people who are just beginner level in this space, right? But one interesting thing is that even an environment like the UK, they are investing a lot in upskilling people, recognizing that the AI talents that these countries want, which is why they are making a lot of schemes or making the environment conducive to attract these talents. The AI talents, they are not going to come from Mars or Jupiter, right? They are going to come from somewhere. And it's a global market, it's very competitive. So as the US is looking for talent, UK is looking for talent, Australia is looking for talent. And if all the very few talents are migrating to these countries, we won't have anyone. So they realize that actually we're not going to end at just putting some bait or a way for these talents to migrate, the scarce talents to migrate, because they are very scarce. And that's also what happens in companies. So someone is migrating from Google to Microsoft to Oracle to IBM, they're circulating, just circulating the same talent. So what do? We have to go to the grassroots. So that is also how you would approach it. You don't have to be discouraged that I'm not there yet. Start from where you are and keep building like your skills. And good thing with AI, you can find some good thing, you have some projects. Keep building that portfolio, keep upskilling. Like I said, I am still learning because AI will it's evolving very, very quickly. I am still learning. In fact, I have a lineup of courses I want to take, things I want to learn, right? So the only thing is, as you move on, you're building experience, and those experience are also helping you. But you also need to advance and pick up new skills so you can be up to date with the latest technologies. So that is it. Just keep at it, and also try to align what you're doing to things that are also relevant. There are two sides of it, right? With AI, I would say learn the foundations, but also try to map that to where things are evolving. So, for example, if someone is starting out in AI, let me be specific, machine learning. What is the latest thing happening in machine learning now? We have agentic AI and the likes, so agents and the likes. So before you get to that point, what are the foundations that you need? Try to learn the foundations and try to gradually build that up to where the technology is headed. So that way, you are well grounded, and you can, once you have the foundation, it's easier for you to even pick up technologies, new skills as they come. And again, you are also prepared for the next opportunity that might come. Let's say a company advertises, oh, we're actually looking for people who are skilled in agentic AI. You will say, oh, I know, I have it. I have that skill. Why? Because you've learned it. So, but if you just start from the top and you don't have the foundation, sometimes people also struggle because they lack the foundation, and you might even find when, for example, questions come up, it might even be an interview because you lack the foundation. You might be thrown off balance because you don't have the right foundation. Okay, so that's very important. In fact, as a matter of fact, I I chatted with someone, but it was like a mini interview, and I asked the person a question. Oh, the person talked about, oh, I worked on this project. Very, they could talk about the use case very well, the impact it had, and then I just asked a simple question: how does this model work? And they could not answer. And then I realized that there are actually so many persons who are doing cool AI stuff, but they don't know how these things work, the fundamentals. They don't know the fundamentals, and that's that's a big gap. That's a big gap. They would struggle to just like programming. If you don't have the foundation, you might pick something up, maybe work on a project, but you might struggle to, really use that skill across board and generalize or work on new problems. So yes, balance the both sides, the foundation, and also trying to map that to the currency of that technology you're learning. Okay, let's look at more questions. So again, with respect to training, we do have, I think there'll be a link where on whatever platform, but if you are interested in learning more, you could just give that a go. Some courses, we do have like data foundations, AI courses as well. So you can register and indicate your interest so that you get some more information about enrollments and how to get started. But that's a good way, training, getting yourself trained. And the approach we like to use is project based as well, not just theoretical, but putting it in the context of working on problems and working on projects. Ena is asking, how many years work experience do I need to apply as a data analyst? That's interesting. That's interesting because I've seen, I've actually had this debate and conversations around number of years of experience, because for a beginner data analyst, if you look at a job role and they're saying you need this number of years of experience, you can't get the experience without working, isn't it? So, and some companies may not be willing to take somebody who does not have experience. But how do you build experience if you don't work? So sometimes it's like they can be very tricky and like a chicken and egg problem. But what I would say, there's no definite answer. You can start from zero experience, but what I would say is start building your experience, whether you're in a company, you're not in a company. Actually, now, before you even get a job, start building your experience. Because when I talk about experience, the experience could be volunteering, it could be internships, it could be your pet projects, your personal projects. I've seen people build portfolio. When I talk about portfolio, like a data analyst portfolio, you know how designers, for example, if you meet a designer today, let's say somebody who claims to be a designer or somebody who claims to be a photographer, what's the first thing you're going to ask the person? You're going to say, oh, actually, can you show me your portfolio? And the person will say, oh, actually, go on my Instagram, you'll see my portfolio, and their portfolio will be the pictures they've been taking, and you scroll through, to make sure that that is a way to advertise themselves, and that's a way to convince you that they know the job. So also, why don't you as a data analyst also start thinking of building your portfolio, so that tomorrow when there is an opportunity, you can point people to your portfolio. Actually, these are my works, these are things that I have done. and that makes you more credible. That's someone that just parts up their CV with a lot, but nothing to show for it. So start building up your portfolio. That is one way you can start building your experience without even being in the work environment, and build up your credibility for the role that you are aspiring for. So I would say, how many years? There is no definite answer, but just start from where you are, and whatever you get your hands on, get some training, start working on something, start building your portfolio. And there's several tools that you can even use. So it's several platforms you could use to compile your portfolio. GitHub is available. You can have all your portfolio on it, and on your CV you point people to where your portfolio is. You can LinkedIn is a good space to start talking about the work you're doing and putting also your portfolio together, making it visible. Okay, Amaka said, great job, my great teacher. Thank you. Arnold, Ekene, what certificate is needed for we AI talent? What certificate? You are the certificate that is needed. What certificate is needed? So I can't tell you, because what I was saying earlier, comparing tech and maybe even AI to some other fields, right? So if, for example, you are, let's say, in accounting, there is this specific certification or certificate or exam that you need to have to maybe get to a certain stage, or to progress, or to get a job. But with I can't tell you there is this one certification or certificate that is needed. So, but if you're talking about certificate in terms of education, I would say it depends on the educational level you are, but and it depends on the kind of role you're aspiring for. But for me, for example, I have, like, talking about certificates, I have my bachelor's, I have my master's, I have my PhD. These are certificates. So anything I'm doing on top of that is like, icing in the cake, maybe for me to, and that does not necessarily, I don't think that I have been solely hired on the basis of just certificates. Is mostly what's my skill, right? And in AI world, if you're talking about certification bodies, there are several of them coming up, and maybe specialize in one area. Some are focusing on project management, some may be focusing on, and AI is very broad because you have so many different technologies. Data, there are certifications around data analytics, which is like one of the foundation. Like I said, data is the lifeblood of AI. If you're talking about maybe maybe cloud, yeah, there are certifications in cloud. So you can see that when you want to build an AI system, there are so many angles to it. So anything you're building around that, you can specialize on a specific aspect. It would also help. So no one answer to that one. Okay, and yeah, there's some links that are being shared with you as well. To We have some courses, we have a community as well, where we want to support more people who are, like, if you register your interest, people who are interested in like community, a vibrant community to support people who want to upskill, or through education, migrate, have career mobility, get the quality education. Quality education is very important. It helped me, and I want more people as well to access the right education and exposure to also help them accelerate their career in tech, or if you're interested in AI as well. Oluwatosin is asking, can you recommend any internship opportunities for people just starting? Okay, internship, I can't recommend any one internship, but I would say, one, it depends on where you are. When I was doing my grad school, there are several internships that I tried. One thing is startups. There's some startups that it might not even be called internship. It might just be maybe a startup that are looking for some employees. It might be flexible. Maybe you might have the opportunity to work part time if you're studying. For example, in the UK, if you're a student, you can't work full time, term time. So you can search for different, even the big tech companies do have internships as well. But usually you might need to have, coding experience. It depends again on the career. But if you are doing anything related to tech, particularly maybe programming, yeah, you might need to like do some tests that, or some coding, some live coding, or some, they might give you something to do and submit. So some of the internships I prepared for, I was asked to work on something like a mini project, like a few hours of work, then submit. So it all depends on exactly what you're looking for. But search again, yeah, there's several ones out there. Summer internship in the UK, for example, summer internship is a thing. Like some companies do have summer internship programs that they run. So summer is a good time because most students are going to be on summer holiday. So again, it depends on your circumstance as well. But yeah, if you join our community, we talk about, like, we can talk more about these specific questions and different scenarios and get more people helping out with these questions. Okay. What else? How easy is it to transition into tech at the age of over 40 years? Ooh, good one. How easy is it to transition? I have taught adult learners, I'm speaking from experience, taught people who were transitioning, and these are maybe people who were maybe already managers in their role, people who were already very established in their role. I've taught people, um, just adults from adult age upwards, and it depends on where you're starting from, and that's why I come back to foundation. If you're going to transition into tech, you need to identify the foundation of that career. If, for example, you want to be a software developer, you're not going to become an expert developer in a day. So you're going to be starting from the real basics. I want to learn programming, and you're going to have to pick up one language to learn. And within that, try and learn. There's something called art of programming. I'm using programming as an example. If you want to become an AI expert, you're not going to just become an AI expert in a day. I'm going to start from the foundation so you can pick up, okay, I want to do data foundations. So some of the courses I've taught and some of the things we train on is also around helping people get the foundations, because it's easier from the foundation to then branch out. We do have these in our data foundations class, we do like a career map where we show you, if you have interest in this, then it could take you along this career path, maybe to become a business intelligence expert if you have this interest. So we have that mapping, because most times people just come, oh, I want to do AI, I want to do AI, I want to do data, but they don't understand that within data you have like 100 you could have 100 careers in data. So, and that just shows that it's the variety is there. There's a lot of diversity in career paths, and you could start from the base, like a particular foundation, and you begin to build from there. And good thing as well, you could even transition from one career within tech to another, right? So, for example, um, my core, I do some work as a machine learning engineer, and I also work very closely with software engineers. And there are software engineers who are learning machine learning so that they can be more like machine learning software engineers, right? Or pick up machine learning as a skill set so they can build AI powered software. So you see the connection. So if I am working on projects that involve a lot of cloud, maybe deploying models in cloud, I'll need to pick up some cloud computing skills or work with experts in cloud computing, collaborate with them. But I'll need to learn some things that the cloud computing expert knows. If I'm working on a system, there's a lot of the security aspects in it. I'm going to be working closely with like security experts, security architects, and maybe pick up some of the skills. So I might not be an expert in all of these, but I might pick up some skills that would help me get the job done. So transitioning into tech, you start from a point, and it has nothing to do with your age. In fact, as a matter of fact, in the evolving world of tech, people are encouraged to have the adaptable skills. I think that's one of the soft skills that came up as a top skill for the future. Adaptability, learning to learn, on learning and learning. So you should just that adaptability is one of the core skills that is actually needed. Okay, somebody I saw this comment. Tell him I'm in your data analyst class and I'm 49. Yeah. So you see, I like that. Thank you, Amaka. So yes, it is. There's no barrier. I want to be 60 years old and still talking data and learning. So once you have learning attitude, you'd fly. All right. Okay, Michael is asking. Michael, you're still here. I'm glad you're still here. Thank you. I saw your comment at the start. Are there any volunteering opportunities within Glotale for AI and associated fields? I'm currently doing a master's in data science and would love to learn and also contribute to the community. Okay. So yes, it would be nice. So someone from the team will get in touch because volunteering. So we do have we have a community and we are actually at the point of getting everything set up for our community to support. So it's a community to support scholars or people who, like myself many years ago, were looking for this platform of like-minded people and network people who are in the same journey, a similar journey of either migrating or upskilling themselves so that they can find themselves in an environment to give themselves the best opportunities in education. So yes, so give us, we would, I would make a note of that so that we can get in touch. But do join our community. There's a link there as well. Just get started, sign up, show your interest. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. More are coming. All right. Could you share insights on how to land global remote jobs as an African, especially as someone transitioning from academia? Oh, okay. Right. So landing global remote jobs as an African. I like that you mentioned global remote jobs because earlier, I was saying earlier that one of the things when we talk about global migration, is not just about people moving from one country. That's when we talk about migration, everyone talks about, oh, I'm moving from country X to country Y. But it's also about mobility of your skill, mobility of your skill. So if you have a skill that's very mobile, you could be in that country and you can be working across the globe, right? So, but one of the things you would have to, of course, your skill sets is the core, having the skill sets. And when you have the skill sets, start building your network as well. If you're transitioning from academia, one thing I know about academia is that academia is very collaborative, and people even. I was in the UK and I was already collaborating with people in other countries. So you could look at your network, build your network. There are some opportunities I've assessed just by my network, like even people who are in other parts of the world, right? So that's where opportunities can also begin to flow from. Build your network, build your expertise, and look out for platforms. It depends on exactly what you want, but if you're looking for, there are platforms where you could assess maybe like a freelancer working on specific projects. So that way, once you start putting your portfolio out there, you would be boundless, I would say. Yes, yeah, global with time. And I have a master's degree in data science and I live in France. What are Glotale's training programs about, and how can I apply for global talent visa while based in France? So our training program, particularly right now, we focus on, so our core is the tech skills of the future. And data and AI, these are, I didn't share some stats, but if you look at the global talent visa, the breakdown of the backgrounds, you'll see things like AI and machine learning there. You'll see data and analytics. And these are very, very within the space. You could be working on projects. You have data and AI skills. You have even cloud computing. So you might have a project that requires these different expertise. So we our focus right now is on data. So we already recently we had a program that we ran with Oseni Center, a partnership with Oseni Center, and we had around 3,000 persons who registered for that, and we've already trained like over 200 persons. And we start out with the data foundations, which, we ran it like a session just to get people started, to get people familiar with the space, because some persons don't know what is possible even in the data field. So data foundations, we start from there, and then we run data analytics training. We run training on AI as well, just AI, more core AI. So, please, this should be also shared. The link should be shared on the platforms you're on, so you can indicate it's been shared earlier, but it will be shared again. So link so that you can indicate your interest and be followed up on. Then you're talking about global talent visa while based in France. You can apply for the global talent visa from any part of the world. You can apply for it. So the basic thing is, if you haven't, I'm guessing tech might be your area, but there are also other endorsing bodies. So if you have not looked at the guideline, start by just looking at the guideline as well. And if you want to, we do have several resources. We even invite people to our channel to talk about their experience. And we spoke with Amarachi, who is skilled at she has was even, and one thing about tech is that your skill could be varied. So people who are in community, um Amachi has worked as a community manager, Chinazo, she's one of the people who got the Global Talent Visa through her coaching. She has worked as program manager, upskilling people in data, and she's also done a master's in AI. So, various persons. We've worked with people in cybersecurity. So we invite people, different professionals, to our channels to also talk about their experience. So you can also look at our YouTube videos for some of these sessions we've had, to just hear people's experience, hear people talking about their journey as well. But yeah, you can be from any part of the world to apply. Okay, so any more question so we can wrap this up? Well, thank you. It's been engaging. Thanks. Okay, I see a question here. Is there anything like security AI engineer? If there is, please share more light to it. Okay. Whoa, you've push the button here. So security, I like security a lot. So my work, I've been doing work around, my research has been around privacy preserving AI. So I have a very good likeness for security as well. So there is one thing about tech space. I don't, when I see, in fact, you can form a role. Before, we didn't have anything like prompt engineer, but now we have. So you can carve out a niche for yourself. So me, I'm the privacy preserving AI expert. So privacy AI expert. So that's what I'm carving out. You can carve out that if you have expertise in this space. So it's like a combination of three things: security, AI, and then the engineer part. There, yes, because for example, security is a thing. There are people particularly looking at AI security. When large language models became very widespread, people started working around security, around safety, around evaluating these models, trying to break the models and identify vulnerabilities. So it could be from that perspective. But yeah, if security, if you mean things like it's the broad space on its own, and AI, of course, with AI, there are more vulnerability, or yes, some it exposes the systems to more attacks. So people are actually dedicated to looking at that as well. Right. Okay. Any more? You don't want to let us go. What countries offer global talent visa and how do I know if I qualify for one? Additionally, what can I do as a data professional to position myself to be qualified for a global talent visa? Okay, great question. Prosperity. Countries offering global talent visa. I actually there was remember making a post then where I spotlighted 7 countries that I could identify were offering some form of global talent visa. But the space is also evolving. Right now, we specialize a lot on the UK, Australia, and US because they some countries may not even call it global talent visa, but some of these countries have specifically they are very established. These ones I've mentioned, they are very well established with global talent visas right now. US in the US, we call it so like it's more like an outstanding visa or EB. You can call it EB1 visa, and there are different categories of that. So for people who are outstanding in their field, so it might not be called global talent visa the way UK calls it that, and the way Australia might call it. And if you go to Canada, Canada has some, they might not call theirs global talent visa, but people who are skilled, they have provincial support or some, they do have the, um, what's it called? The, where people come in to get their permanent residency. So they also have the provinces, different provinces who might have particular support or a scheme where if you are highly talented, you could apply, and that once you are endorsed by a province, you have, yes, I remember the name, express entry. So once you are endorsed in a way by that province, it gives you a very, very high point, very, very high, that even if every other thing you get zero, you're almost like you are really, really at the top already. So they do that, but it's also very competitive. Then there are, New Zealand has some form, Hong Kong has some form of it. Then the UAE does have what we call the golden visa, the golden visa, which it might not give you permanent residence or citizenship at the end, but it gives you good access to opportunities. But yeah, there are requirements. So you can see that also some countries have some form of digital nomad visa where people who are digital nomads or tech talents can come into that country for a period of time to work and yeah, to work mostly. So there are things that are coming up in the space, and that's why I mentioned that global migration is evolving because there's constant need and demand for talent. So wherever you are, if you begin to brush up yourself and improve your skill sets, even if you remain where you are, you can. So I could be in the UK, but that does not limit me. So without borders, it's talent without borders. So you can be wherever you are and you can be globally relevant. That's the aspiration. All right, so please, there's a number on the screen as well. For any assistance you might need, do reach out on WhatsApp to get that conversation started. Okay, let me hand back to my able anchor, Stephanie. I'm sure she has some final words. She's already telling us we need to wrap up. Okay. Oh, I think you're on mute, Stephanie. You there? Okay. So Stephanie might be having some audio issues. So you've got all these links. You've got a way to reach us, and thank you so much for staying on. Yes,
I'm back.
you're back. All right, Stephanie.
Thank you so much for this solid value. Thank you for, answering all of our questions from the bottom of your heart and from the wealth of your experience. I believe we all are living here, with another level of knowledge, and we are grateful to have you. To everyone that has joined us, thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your time. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for being here. We value you and we do not take you for granted. Thank you so much. What do we say to Dr. Maryleen? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So please, I want you all to follow us on our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Search for Glotale and follow us. Once you are done doing that, please search for Maryleen Amaizu on LinkedIn and follow her. Let's show her some love, show that we appreciate her time from 9. Remember that those who stay ahead are those who what? Who understand trend, adapt, and lead boldly. So your talent is needed. Take the necessary steps to build, document, and show the world. Thank you. So please, we'll be expecting your messages. Tap the number on the screen. Send us your feedback, your question, any assistance you would need. We are ready to journey with you. Thank you. Stay connected with us.